Previously on the Stanbic National Schools Championship.
We as EduTele, we set conference calls. How? We have a conference number that is 0312 777 000. So let's say, for instance, a student wants to join into the lesson. The student will call that number 5 minutes before the actual time, so that it gives enough time for students to come in and join the lesson. Then later on, the teacher will come on board and teach.
I joined National Schools in 2019. My school never went through, but I presented my honey project as a student, and I got some money, and some of the money was used to erect the structure and modify it a little bit, and yeah, this is where we are.
This water tank you see here is the water system that we received when we became the first runners up from Championship 2017. We would like to appreciate Stanbic so much because you give tangible prizes that can be seen.
Oh, what's up, Daggy?
Yes, Brian.
How you doing?
I'm okay, how are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Brian.
You even grown enough for you, man.
Hey, we 2021, New Year. It's the New Year, it's our year.
So what are you up to?
I'm now in school, but I'm also fulfilling the hustle, you know. We're supposed to make money, we're supposed to live the life of hustling.
Yes.
Yeah, so that we have a comfortable, decent future life. So
absolutely,
right now,
man.
that is
Good to see you, my
Good
friend.
to see you.
And I know 2021 is going to be even bigger and better for you. Speaking of bigger and better, welcome to yet another edition of the Stanbic National Schools Championship. Ordinarily, the normal school calendar would have us right now in the different schools across the entire country with students writing the National School Championship quiz or exam, as we call it. But man, COVID leveled us and we had to go to think and find a better way to put this out there. So we introduced what we call the Quiz On Challenge, where not just the students, but also you, members of the public, would participate. Now I'm joined by Daggy, who is an alumni. He was in the championship as a student. Now he's at university and a hustler, professional hustler. Welcome. You participated in the Quiz On Challenge. Number one, tell me, was it the same feeling, the same experience as you were in school?
It wasn't the same feeling. In school, I was afraid of the quiz. I did not know what was coming. Now, having that experience, I thought that this quiz would be the same, but it is really humbling. You may think that you know, but actually you do not know. I went there proud, knowing I've done this before, I'll do it this one.
It's going to be a walkover.
So I did the things, they came out. Then the results came out to see I had failed URSB. Uganda Registration Service Bureau.
Yeah.
That is wrong. The right one is Uganda Registration Services Bureau.
Services,
yes. Yeah. OTT, over the top. That's the correct one. I put over the top tax, just like as you've said.
Hey!
Yes. So it is a really
That's
humbling
incredible,
one.
Man.
Yes, yes, yes.
Nice. What was your biggest lesson that you took out of the challenge?
Well, my biggest lesson was all about saving and more about business. You see, as I've said, it is a humbling experience to show that maybe there is something you think you know, but you do not know.
Yeah.
And now in the hustling world where NSC is preparing us to go, we are now being taught that, yes, there is space for you to learn, but you can also know something and put it into practice.
Fantastic.
Yes.
For people who haven't yet participated in the challenge, what do you say to them?
They're missing out a lot. As I've said, this quiz is going to prepare you. It's going to show you that, yes, you may be the best at something, but then you're missing out on something else to make you a dynamic person that is going to be the real hustler that NSC is preparing people to be.
Nice. Always a pleasure talking to you,
Thank
Daggy.
you, Brian.
Most important lesson of the Quiz On Challenge, I would say for you, is the understanding of the money cycle. Get the money, save it, and grow it. And then you can be able to talk about creating 100-year-old legacies. in this country. And that's what we are passionate about. So just for you to appreciate the impact of the challenge, we had up to 2,152 participants. 59% were male, 41% were female. And the schools with the highest participation were Lord's Mid Vocational College, Buyikwe, and King's College, Buddo. The best answered question was the app demonstration of the money cycle in life, which is getting money, saving it, and growing it. And the top 100 finalists each walked away with a cash prize of 50,000 shillings from the National Schools Championship. So what are you waiting for? Get on board, go to nsc.ug to participate. Let me also start my own challenge here. Doug, you want to join me?
Go and be humbled.
Welcome back from the break. Now that we know what the Quiz Zone Challenge is all about, we encourage you to continue participating. You don't want to miss this learning point. Our next stage is the business idea generation stage. We received a couple of ideas, but would like to know what the analysts were looking at specifically. We get to have a chance to interact with Alex and Nicholas, who are the analysts for the Northern region. We want to find out, what are they looking for? What stood out for them? Take a look.
Welcome to Stanbic National Schools Championship. We were the analysts assigned with looking at the schools from the Northern region. For me personally, I think what really stood out for me was one with the bookmaking. Alex, what do you think about that?
It was hard to get by books sometimes in school.
Yes.
So imagine the guy manufacturing them is your next door neighbor. It's not such a bad idea. But the ones that stood out for me are some that are a little more complex for even the students, but they had a very good grasp of the processes. There's this kid who spoke about the shea butter business. This guy is trying to hit like 10 different birds with one stone.
Sure.
Off burning these shea nuts,
Yes.
you actually can get edibles, you will eat them.
Yeah.
Off that you will make cooking oil, off that you will make biogas.
Yes.
Basically,
And also the briquettes.
the briquettes, you see that? Why it stands out, most of his colleagues only spoke about the sales plan. None of them got in depth of a real marketing plan. He's speaking about advertising, he's speaking about sending the boys down, he's speaking about targeted marketing.
Yes.
Yeah. He seems to have a real clear plan.
So which ideas, which businesses do you think were
There are some who are trying to be extremely simplistic, who just want to copy and paste. I think growing up, you see so many mobile money guys on your street, and then you think you will just wake up and begin that. And most importantly, you're going to begin that with people's monies.
Yes.
I don't think that makes sense.
Out of the 26 business plans, there were a few areas which I saw students stood out really well. And for me personally, I think where most students scored highly was in nailing the mission and the vision statement.
They were good with their social development goals. They nailed that, I think. My hope is they weren't just reading and actually placating for answers for us.
What would you say were the more challenging areas in that respect?
When we get to issues of risk analysis,
Yes.
competitor analysis, they kept on speaking to their own strengths. They did not actually compare with the competitors. It's supposed to be a contrast between what you're good at, what the other guys, your competitors are good at, or what they're poor at.
What word of advice would you give the more, if I should say, the weaker business plans?
Maybe they just need to think harder. I mean, the business opportunities are around us every other day. From the moment you wake up in the morning, the moment you sleep, everyone is actually earning money off you. You need to figure out a way of earning money as well.
Yeah. To all the schools in the northern region that participated in the championship, we say thank you and keep striving for the best. Don't give up. We hope to see you in the next round.
We certainly need more bookmakers and book readers, right? With a little bit of shea butter. But what businesses stood out for William Tendo and Atim Michelle in the Eastern region? Take a look.
Hello and welcome to the Stanbic National Schools Championship 2021. First things first, what stood out for you in the Eastern region?
The school with the saloon actually stood out.
Yeah, that was an interesting.
It's a monopoly. The school gets to set the prices. The school gets to decide the rules. So when it wants all the hair off, it says
It's uniform.
It's uniform. That's what stood out the most.
Okay. Any other ideas?
Yes, the fertilizer.
Oh, the
that was
pesticides.
yes, the pesticides. That was a very unique idea. I didn't know you could make your own pesticides. I thought they had to be manufactured.
And the fact that they're not using other chemicals and it's mainly like raw materials that you can get from household appliances, things like chili peppers, and
Moringa. Yes.
That was actually brilliant. On my side, I like the albino rats. And like rat farming is just weird. The fact that you can get 5 rats and in a period of 6 months have 30, and they're used for laboratory projects, usually like A-level papers. And it just really blew my mind that someone was thinking along those lines. Another one that stood out for me was the locally made sandals. Yeah, the ones where they use tires and the designs that they get from abroad, online. Yeah, that was a good idea in my book. And the fact that these are basically, they're helping us with recycling, and they're also able to try and train some of their own students to actually take that on. Yeah. What are some of the problems that you saw?
They only did the capital budget and they weren't stating their forecasts where they'll get the initial income, how they'll continue, the projections and the sustainability of the business. Yes.
For me on my side, I actually thought of also the bit that they were using ICT just mainly for marketing, social media, and yet it has so many functions for a business today. And things like record keeping, trying to do some research, payment models, because now people are going more mobile money and then more kind of businesses like that. I thought that was a bit lacking. And then to get back to your point of costing, I remember there was a pig farm which costed and they failed to put feeds into that. Yeah, so in the future, I think some more financial literacy and business development should be put there.
The criteria I used to determine the schools going to the next level, based on my opinion, was viability. Is it able to make money? Does it look like it can continue making money post, even after being given money for a year after the investment?
One, I would use how clearly they were able to articulate their ideas, straight from their mission and vision, through to the identification of the problem and the solution.
I feel there's an impact that National Schools Championship is making. One, it's encouraging creativity and imagination. Usually all students are focused on passing their A-level, passing their O-level, and moving to university. But with this, you're given an opportunity to think outside what you're taught, to utilize all that you're taught, all the subjects, to see if you can get one thing. From the agriculture and animal husbandry sector, people use their agriculture school skills. If they study commerce, they have used entrepreneurship, they've used English, that's language and literacy writing. They have used all the geography because they are basing on all those factors to input into their final investment decision, their investment problem and solution. Some of the schools, let's say, which qualified for this year again, their plans were better. They are more concrete, more thought out, So I believe students are learning the art of being able to write a profitable business plan. So that is one of the things I see students getting from the National Schools Championship.
brilliant ideas those are from the Eastern region. Pesticides? Trust me, during my time, I was never going to think about that. Let's now join Viola and Fiona from the Western region.
We are here to analyze the Western business profiles. I'd like to understand what actually stood out for you.
There was quite a number of businesses that stood out for me, Viola. Someone was thinking of coming up with a maggot business.
Yes, I
Can
do
you
remember
believe
that
that?
profile. Yes, and I like how he talks about who the target customer is, what he would like to do, the production process for me stood out. She goes ahead to detail what she intends to do in the entire process from the start to when she intends to sell it to the actual consumers, and she mentions that the consumers are the people making chicken feeds or poultry feeds. I think for me that was brilliant for a high school student. And there are a couple of other businesses that did stand out, like the natural hair cosmetics business profile. I think for me, for a high school student, that was very interesting in a sense that this person understands the different needs of different people with natural hair and thinks that there should be a product customized for them. I think that was very brilliant, but also had narrating the production process, what she needs, what she needs to mix, how she intends to mix, the budgeting, the planning, the different key resources she needs. Her appreciating that for her to make her business work, she needs a different set of skills on the team. And I think for me, overall, the businesses being linked to the different SDGs, the COVID-19 effects, and the way the students are able to articulate what they need in terms of financial management.
That's actually brilliant.
Very brilliant. Some businesses are well put together in terms of management. The team appreciates different posts. You see that this is an entrepreneur in the making. They would appreciate what different skill sets have to bring on the business. There was a profile that was talking about the bio envelopes. It talks about the normal polythene bags we have on the market, and the bio envelopes would be a substitute. I think that was well executed. And the student went ahead to talk about the ideal consumers, how it would be transferable from the school. I think it was well detailed to an extent that this student talked about what they use in the canteen, what they would want to be used, and how the entire other community would actually buy the product and use the product.
Did you notice people mentioning how they're going to market these products?
Yes,
what
I
platforms they're going to use?
Yes.
Are they going to do it offline or they're going to do it online?
I did see so many businesses talk about how they would use the administration, the school's administration, in ensuring that some of their products, especially products that were both consumed by the community and the schools, would be sold out, would be sold to the intended customers. And most of them were talking about social media. For me, it was even interesting enough to know that students know the use of social media to enrich their businesses. Yes, advertising. And they went ahead to talk about what the expectations are from the administration, for example. I think overall the businesses were brilliant, and there is just a few things that can be added, and the businesses would be scalable businesses.
Very interesting choices for Judge Viola and Fiona. But what caught the eye of Ruben and Geoffrey in the Central region? Let's find out.
We received 18 submissions from 9 schools. Looking at the ideas that were presented, personally I was highly impressed with the level that the students are getting involved in agriculture-related projects. In the agriculture-related field, what has been happening is that we've been having students that think of going to the garden whenever we think of agriculture. But this time around, we are seeing students who are thinking about value addition. They are thinking of getting the agricultural products and transforming them into final products, the seduce and all that. So I see that as an addition where agriculture is not being looked at just a garden issue, but students have started exploring the entire value chain The other area that also stood up on my side, in the field of ICT, I was impressed with the situation where the students are coming up with learning platforms. Yeah, they are proposing a learning platform. So at the end of it all, as these young people are playing with the computers, with the phones, we see them using the ICT equipment for business purposes and not just for chatting or social media and all that.
One school came out with a 3D animation proposal, and the student clearly brought out things I would hear from places I've been. Things like rendering, things like modeling. Is the education system changing to that way that students are able to understand what rendering is, what modeling is, or you still think at the back of everything someone is out there helping them to do the things?
I must confess that the students are moving to the next level. Gone are the days when, for example, ICT was a luxury. We are now seeing it as a way of one, generating business ideas and also using it to implement their business ideas. So it's a plus to see to that ICT is coming on board.
Did you see so many businesses talking about daddies and cakes and bakeries?
Yes, the daddies and the baking bit was there, but we also had the issue of ICT, like you've seen. We had the issues of value addition, like you've seen. So we are seeing ideas becoming more interesting. You see seemingly unique ideas that are slightly different from what we have on the market, emerging. So key elements of creativity and innovation coming on board in terms at the ideation level, which was a good idea.
I saw very many of them have, like you talked about, innovation and whatever creativity might hold, but these businesses may not seem to take the first birthday.
What you are sharing is something that I also observed. Of course, what we have to bear in mind is that some of these ideas that they are sharing, they are still at ideation level. So I'm more confident that in the process of coaching them, mentoring them, they will refine these ideas and get to some practical level. Of course, after mentoring, some of them will drop the ideas or even improve on them. But the other thing that I personally saw was the issue of ownership. Remember, this is the main challenge that we have in Uganda currently, where most businesses are one man's business, or what we call sole proprietorship. So at this level, would think we should deliberately move in that stage where we are encouraging them to come in as teams. The other area that I saw was that bit of financial planning. Yes, we have these teams that we're really able to pick it from a point of identifying the need, how much they need, showing the sources, projecting the sales, and projecting the profitability. But we had also these 2-3 teams. I don't know that you saw it, but
yes, I saw it.
yeah, you would see that at the financial planning bit, they were simply listing the expenses with the projected costs. So meaning that it is something that is a challenge here in Uganda. When you talk of a budget, you're getting the list of items and the costs. So the financial planning actually there is missing.
How would you recommend them to think about their finances?
So what I would really advise is that as young entrepreneurs, they will begin from identifying what they need to finance. Then having identified what they need to finance, attach the figures, and by so doing they are actually getting the actual amount they need. Then the next step would be them identifying the likely sources. Before they talk of lacking the capital, have they explored what they could have saved? Have they explored what they can get in kind? Have they explored what they can offer themselves in kind? So at least having that wider perspective would be an added advantage to them.
The boom with 2021 was we tried to ensure that ICT was used so much in the process of collecting the profiles as well as ICT being applied in these businesses?
Most of the businesses were submitted from the manufacturing angle, and I can imagine why. Most of them were at the end of the value chain. So for example, yes, they are in agriculture, but they are manufacturing something from the agriculture, primary business.
The ideas that came out were able to signify social feasibility, were able to see economic viability, and we're also able to see how they are solving the Sustainable Development Goals.
Yes, there is a very great impact that I can see as National Schools Championship making towards entrepreneurs. You see that so many entrepreneurs are able to articulate their business idea, which for me is knowledge from class, and then they go further ahead to understand the competition. Now that is somebody who is practically doing business, able to understand that kind of analysis. And I believe that is something that NSC is doing towards the students, for them to have the entrepreneurial mindset, for them to be able to understand what the business idea is, blend the class knowledge and the actual practical knowledge that an entrepreneur needs. And I think they are doing a very great change or impact towards entrepreneurs and grooming tomorrow's business leaders.
There you have it from the judges. And like we told you at the beginning of the season, we have 4 major categories in the championship. A startup challenge, which is for our school-going children. The Alumgro for those who are in high school and left. The Bisbro for those who have started active businesses and are thriving right now. But we introduce something for the teachers, which is the Teach Grow Challenge. Now let me hand you over to Doreen from PwC to tell us the results.
I'm so excited to announce the finalists for the National Schools Championship 2021. I'll start with the Eastern Region. We have Mpumude Seed Senior Secondary School. We have Chira College Butiki, Musana Vocational High School, and finally Busoga High School in Kamuli. From the Western Region, we have Chebambe Girls Secondary School, Baranyanji Girls Secondary School, Kabalega Trust Secondary School, and finally Mbara Secondary School. Next, we move on to the Northern Region. We have St. Andrew's College Moyo, Chigumba Intensive Secondary School, Wisdom High School, and lastly, Hope Senior School. Finally, in the Central Region, we have Mitiana Trinity College, Chitante High School, King's College Budo, and finally, Mbazi Riverside High School. So the next category is the Bisbro Challenge, and the 4 finalists are Chenjojo SS, their company is called Multi Sopas. The second finalist we have is Mbale Secondary School, and their company is called Urban Taste and Takeaway Restaurant. Third, we have Muyenga High School, and their company is called Muyenga High School Urban Farming Consultancy. And finally, we have Otinawa Comprehensive SS. Their company is called Otinawa Honey. Next, we have the Alum Grow Challenge. Number 1, we have Nshuti Elf iTech Company. Second, Samuel Abeho. Company is called Nkozi. Number 3, Imenyo Natalie Emily, and her company is called Natalie's Applique. And finally, we have Kaziwe H, Biaragahare D, and Wefefe J, and their company is called A Geek Consultancy Firm. The finalists for Teach Grow Challenge 2021, the 4 finalists are Webale Samuel. His company is called Penny Drug Center. Number 2, we have Simon Masembe, and his company is called Mav Animal Breeding Farms. Third, we have Alum Susan, and her company is called Hidden Treasure. And finally, we have Sharifa Nanyonja, and her company is called Sweet Plate Foods.
Fantastic. Wow. I'm excited. I don't know about you, so cheer for your favorite school, your teacher, your alumni, the business, using our hashtag Stanbic UG Champion. And in case you haven't applied, now you know things are real. We're not just equipping people to start these businesses. We are making sure that they become job creators of tomorrow.